Everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Y'all doing well this morning? Can't hear you.
Oh yeah.
Hello? Awesome. For those of you grabbing coffee, go ahead and grab your cup and make your way and find a seat up here in the front. We're going to get started here in a second. It looks like I see some new faces this week. Raise your hand if you're new to 1 Million Cups and haven't been before.
What about second time?
Second time, we got a second timer as well. So we got about 4 or 5 new folks. Awesome. So for those of you who haven't been before, I'll go ahead and explain a little bit about why we're here today and what we're going to go through. So 1 Million Cups is an educational program where every single week we have 2 entrepreneurs come in and present their stories. And through that storytelling process, we're able to get a little bit in depth with them, empathize kind of the things that they're going through, and then we get an opportunity to go through Q&A and get a little bit further in depth and figure out how we can help these entrepreneurs that are coming each week. The founder of 1 Million Cups, his theory for starting the program was that if we can share 1 million more cups of coffee with each other, we can fundamentally change our entrepreneurial ecosystem, which I think is pretty cool. I really enjoy sharing ideas over coffee and drinks, and that's what we're here to do today. Without further ado, well actually, let me say a few quick notes. One, we want to get you guys engaged in the digital ecosystem here in Little Rock as well. So we really value if you guys can jump in and make sure and tag and capture any inspirational moments that we have here at 1 Million Cups on social media. We've got Twitter at 1 Million Cups LR, hashtag 1MCLR, and we also have some of our presenters' information at our challenge, hashtag ARIdea. At Facebook, you can find Tagless at Tagless Style, and you can also find their website and our presenters' Twitter handle. Today, we're really excited to announce that we're going to be kicking off the first of several presenters who are all coming from the Art Challenge. The Art Challenge is a program that is now on their 4th cohort of startups going through a intensive boot camp process where they engage with mentors and lead into preparing for taking on seed investment. So before we get into our first company, I would like to invite Warwick Saban, the executive director of the Art Challenge, to come up, and he's going to tell the story about what the Art Challenge means here in Little Rock and what it's all about. So Warwick, if you don't mind.
Okay. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
And I just want to say I really appreciate Jordan and the organizers of 1 Million Cups for what they've been doing to really kind of bring our startup ecosystem together here once a week, bringing a great program that's had a lot of success nationally to Little Rock, where I think we're all really excited about all of the momentum that's taking place. And so 1 Million Cups is a big part of that, and we really appreciate it. The ARC Challenge that I'm going to talk about today is actually taking place right across the street, right across from the convention center at 107 East Markham. You've probably seen the space. It used to be a nightclub. It's a cool space that you're all welcome to kind of visit over there, and we've been in there since the beginning of August. And the story of the ARC Challenge, like a lot of great entrepreneurial stories in the United States, actually begins in Silicon Valley. And I don't know if you're familiar with an accelerator program called Y Combinator. It was really the first accelerator program of this model in the country. And the idea was that you had a lot of success, obviously, in Silicon Valley. A lot of really experienced entrepreneurs who've had a lot of success, who wanted to be able to mentor the next generation of startup companies out there, and also selfishly wanted to attract the best ideas to Silicon Valley. And in a lot of ways, that's what's happened. They've really clustered all of these excellent ideas that have become the great companies that we're familiar with right now. And so Y Combinator was a program conceived to basically solicit these great startup ideas from around the country and around the world, pick the best ones, bring them to Silicon Valley, have them spend 14 weeks in a very intensive boot camp program where basically every resource that could be thrown at them would be thrown at them and made available to them. And one of the keys is mentorship. this intensity of the mentor core that would be applied to these startup founders. Because in Silicon Valley, of course, you have all of these really, again, successful entrepreneurs who have a lot of really good input to share. And so, they thought, get these people together for 14 weeks, give them some seed funding, but most of all, give them access to this network of people who can help them accelerate the development of their idea, so that by the end of the 14 weeks, what was just really an idea becomes a viable company that's ready for follow-on investment, that has traction, that has customers, and can really become something that could take off. And so Y Combinator has been extraordinarily successful, and like I said, many of you are probably familiar with it. It is sort of the gold standard of accelerator programs around the world, and they continue to attract really amazing founders and startup ideas, and it's intensely competitive to get into that. So obviously, after the success of Y Combinator, a lot of other cities around the world wanted to get into the act. And it's true that by this point, there are a lot of 14-week accelerator programs that exist around the country. But the truth is, Arkansas actually got in on this pretty quick. Of course, the time frame now in the startup world is so short, it's kind of like dog years, and we're only going back to 2012 here. But the ARC Challenge was conceived and founded and executed in 2012 up in Northwest Arkansas. And the idea was to take the same exact model and apply it up there. And they had a really successful cohort that first year. It took place in Fayetteville at a place called the Iceberg that I think many of you, again, are probably familiar with, a co-working space in downtown Fayetteville. And so after that program took place, they did it again in 2013. And then this year, the ARC Challenge has expanded to have 2 cohorts. And right now, there's a cohort up in Northwest Arkansas, and we have our first one ever here in Central Arkansas. And like I said earlier, we started first week of August, and we're going to go through November 12th. We'll have a demo day, and I'll back up and tell you a little bit about sort of what we're doing here specifically in Central Arkansas. The model that we have applied here, we invited applications from around the world, and we received about 85 applications specifically for this program. But the ARC Challenge is also part of a network called the Global Accelerator Network, which is a network that involves all of these kinds of programs around the world. And we had a pool of applications to evaluate that really numbered over about 200. And we went through these applications, and we really looked for, those ideas that not only, really were creative and viable, but those that fit into our industry sectors here in Central Arkansas, which we identified as finance, healthcare, and government. And with a specific also idea, we'll focus on ideas that had to do with data analytics, because obviously there's so much expertise in this region around that. And so we wanted to really look for companies that would fit into those categories. And we went through and evaluated these companies, and the offer to the companies was that if you participated in this program, you would get an initial investment of $20,000 in exchange for a 6% equity stake in your company. And you would go through the program and compete for a prize of $150,000 that would be awarded on Demo Day. And Demo Day, for those of you who are not familiar, is sort of that culmination of an accelerator program when all of the companies actually get up and make a formal pitch of about 10 minutes in front of a crowd that includes venture capitalists and other kinds of investors, and of course the public, with the idea that not only are the companies competing for this $150,000 prize, but anybody who's in the audience, who's interested, can approach these companies and make an investment in their companies. So where we are right now with the companies that we've chosen, we chose 7 out of that application pool. We've got companies that kind of run the gamut from e-commerce to a company that's invented a technology around polling and surveying the public that can be applied in government and public advocacy. So, we're really kind of pleased not only with the diversity of the companies, but again, with the amount of progress that they're making week after week. And what we've done for them is put together a program through which we have a very, very long list of mentors from Central Arkansas, again, really trying to take advantage of that expertise and experience that we have here, because the truth is, we have an awful lot of business success and experience here in this region, and a lot of times that goes untapped. And one of the reasons why we're doing our challenge, one of the reasons why we're doing 1 million cups, and a lot of these other programs that have really started to take root here in Central Arkansas just in the last year or two, is that to some degree in this region there's been this disconnect between those people who have those great ideas and who can become that next generation of startup founders, and those people who can help make that happen here through either financial investment or mentorship or whatever other resources we can bring to bear. And the unfortunate thing about those things not being connected sometimes is that those folks with the really good ideas, because they can't get access sometimes to all of those resources, they end up having to go out of state. And they end up having to go out of state either to find financing or to find access to talent to help them get their company off the ground. And then on the other side, the folks with the money, sometimes their money ends up playing out of state and they're investing it in other places because they don't know how to get access to the great ideas or to the people who have that next idea that they want to hear from. And so the job of some of us who are kind of working in this environment, it's not always rocket science. In fact, it's really kind of simple stuff. It's just about kind of getting people connected, putting them in the same room and making people aware of the ideas on the one hand, and again, those people who are interested in funding those ideas on the other. And so the mentorship pool that we've put together here in Central Arkansas includes everybody from lawyers and accountants to venture capitalists to serial entrepreneurs and people who, again, have a lot of experience to bring to bear, who want to bring that to bear, not only because they want to do a community service and help develop our economy here in Arkansas, but because selfishly they want to get first look at some of these ideas. And so those mentors are helping our founders, and we're putting together other programming and specific workshops and other things to make sure that any given week, whatever problem, whatever idea, that may be kind of stopping some of these companies short, we can kind of help them get through those obstacles, overcome whatever barriers may exist, and keep on moving. We really put a premium on doing a gut check once a week, making sure that every company's making progress, that they're hitting benchmarks, that they're setting goals, so that by the end of the 14 weeks, these companies not only, again, have a minimum viable product to present, but already have customers, already have traction, and can genuinely say they're ready for follow-on investment and take their companies to the next level. Because that's what we want. We want 7 viable companies that are based here in Arkansas, that are hiring employees, that are getting new customers, and that are growing, and that are going to stay here in Arkansas because we've given them every opportunity to be successful here in Central Arkansas. And then obviously the hope is that when these folks hit it big with their companies, that they become that next generation of mentors and bring up the next crop of startup founders. And that's how we're going to create a true startup ecosystem here in Central Arkansas. That's how we're going to create the financial capital to be able to continue that momentum. And again, it's the same exact model that existed in Silicon Valley, and that kind of brings the story full circle. And so with that, I'm very happy to answer any questions, but I'm really most excited about you hearing from Tagless. This is the first company you're going to hear from the 7-member Art Challenge cohort, and we've worked with 1 Million Cups to arrange a schedule where from now through November 12th, when we have our demo day, you'll hear from at least one Art Challenge company. It's great practice for them to get to pitch in front of you, so we thank you for that. But we also think it's exciting for you all to hear about the great ideas and great companies that we are incubating in the Art Challenge. And so I know you all are going to introduce yourselves, but I do want to give a shout out to Gabe Couch, who got named as one of the 20 under 20 new influentials in Arkansas business this week. So congratulations on that. And I defer to you, Jordan. I can exit stage left or answer any questions.
Before we transition into Gabe, does anyone have any questions for Warwick about the Art Challenge?
Actually,
Yeah, please.
it sounds like an environment that you could use for social networking for entrepreneurs who have already been I'm starting my third company. And what I'm finding is I want to get plugged into the entrepreneurial network, the ecosystem. But every time I do, I wind up with people who are just in startup. I can share, but I don't really get value out of it. So is this a kind of a platform where people who have experience can benefit and share what they need as well as share what they like?
I mean, the question is, can people who have maybe a little bit more experience not only, share what they know as mentors, but also kind of maybe get access to things that you may need as well?
Or perhaps, or just the fact that there are other entrepreneurs that so you can share ideas and problems.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to invite anybody who's interested in getting involved here. And I would say, I mean, I'm looking around the room, those who have participated as mentors, I think also have, been able to get a lot out of the, as you said, social networking aspect of it. And I think, I mean, again, that's the importance of events like this morning and all of the things that we're trying to do through, the Venture Center and the Innovation Hub and create these opportunities for, everyone to kind of get access to whatever it is they need or interested in much quicker because, you're just putting a lot more people together in one room. And I think that's...
Just call you and ask what's going on.
Please, yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone's welcome to get involved in the ARC Challenge in any way that you might want to. And I mentioned, we're in that space across the street every day. We don't have any kind of formality over there, so you're welcome to come in and meet everybody and get involved in any way that you can. And we do try to publicize all of our events as well. So, yeah, more than welcome.
Okay.
Sure. Any other questions?
Awesome.
Okay.
So as Warren mentioned, we're going to welcome on Gabe Couch, and he's going to tell us about Tagless.
How's everybody doing today?
Awesome.
Thanks for coming out early this morning. Can we get a couple shots of espresso for everybody?
You probably need
Shots, right? Anyway, I should probably get out of the screen. I'm here to talk about Tagless today. It's a program, a service that we've been working really hard at within View. View's a company that we launched here in Little Rock recently. Fellow viewers over here, David Hudson, Arlton Walworth. Hey, do we have a clicker?
just tell me whenever you're ready.
Oh, all right. So Tagless is it's an alternative to online style services. If you're not familiar with the online style service, there's companies like Trunk Club. It's pretty much you go online, we pair you with a stylist after you take our style profile, and they actually send you curated outfits based on what you want, what you need it for. And I say alternative because we're actually delivering outfits at a affordable price, unlike some of our competitors. So yeah, the problem that we're solving right now is awareness and kind of an underserved market. I think a lot of people are unaware of the quality of clothing, the styles of they can be delivered to you from using clothing from resale clothing stores. So that's what we're working on. Next, I think. Another thing that people don't realize is the market of this area. So the men's apparel business is about $100 million or $1 billion business. I mean, it's men's clothing. It's always changing. The resale market, 5% growth per year. A huge jump recently, as in the last, I guess, 7 years, has been that 20% of shoppers shop resale clothing stores. Before, I think, to put that in perspective, 20% of people shop in malls and new stores. So that market is there. This is also contributing to rapid growth in the men's fashion clubs. Some of our competitors, Trunk Club just got acquired for $350 million by Nordstrom. Stitch Fix, which is focused on women, which we could easily scale to, has raised over $48 million. And then Bombville has raised probably close to $2 million in the last year. So, yeah, that's just kind of proof of that whole concept of the curated style. Yeah. So our solution, back. What'd you do? You broke it. Giving away all my secrets, huh? is our solution. This is a kind of an idea. One thing that we want to put focus on is, from my experiences, I've been testing with a lot of the competitors, and they don't really put a lot of focus in that relationship between you and your stylist, which is something that we really want to focus on. So if you look at this is just kind of an overlay. It's you're going through your style profile between styles you like, your fit, your sizing, and then you actually are connected with your stylist who you'll talk to and curate what you want. The difference between us as well is we actually work and purchase our clothing not only from resale stores, but stores that give back. So as you're buying clothing, you're actually knowing that it's going to either education, clothing somebody that's in need. So yeah. Some traction. Okay, so we did some research as far as some questionnaires, kind of getting a touch on how people feel about the service. If you look, 80% of people that we talk about, men in the ages of 20 to 40, 80% would try, obviously, a style service using clothing that's discounted prices. What I found interesting is 80% would actually be more adept to do it if it was helping people in need. We piqued the interest of one of the biggest resale clothing companies in the nation. Would be a great partnership for us as far as sourcing, logistics. It'd be great. Here is a couple examples. This is Tagless here. Our main stylist, Amber Taylor's from Arizona. It's funny, this story. So we had an event, and between Tagless and View, we've been running around quite a bit. I haven't really had time to go shopping. I don't trust my style. So she showed up with this and was like, wow, I literally looked perfect for the situation I had to, use it for. And it kind of proved the whole point of this is why the service needs to be there. Anyway, so this is Bombfell. I ordered this. It is 3 items for $246. It looks fine. It's not bad. Pretty high price points to me. I don't like to spend a lot of money on clothing. What I found interesting is I didn't really have a good interaction with the stylist, and they sent the tie that actually didn't match the shirt. The tie was way too thick for the shirt, so that's a really big disconnect on when you're trusting that style and that quality of clothing to come in. It just doesn't fit or doesn't work. Here is Tagless, and what I like about this is, so these are Levi jeans, an Express shirt. This is actually a Brooks Brothers tie, and this is a vintage tie that our stylist actually customized to be a skinny tie, based off the fashion style that she saw fit for the outfit. Obviously, the price points are a little bit different, ours being a lot cheaper, and you're actually getting a much more curated style and a lot more items. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We've got about 30 to 40 people ready to go as we launch in early October, as far as signed up and want to use the service. We go by look good, feel good, and do good.
Give it up again. So like we do every single week, we're going to open it up for about 20 minutes of Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about how Tagless works, where they find their clothing, all the details, and maybe some of the bumps that they're facing right now, and what are some of the successes, let's go ahead and open up to questions.
Joe Calhoun with Halsey Calhoun. What is the buy-in for the consumer? What is the cost to them, basically?
Well, the cost will be based on the selection of clothing they're using or receiving. Some people may want something a little less comfortable. Some people may want something as a suit. So it's really going to depend on the quality and the quality, pretty much, of the clothing or the outfit that you're selecting, how many outfits you want, how many items you want. But yeah, our pricing is based on the curation part. That's where the value comes in. The fact that somebody is taking the time and looking at you and giving you clothing that fits you well and looks good on you. Hope that answers your question.
Eric Caldwell with WebJob. Is this mostly an online solution, or is this going to actually have retail that you can walk into and talk to somebody?
It's going to be online, but you will be able to talk to somebody. When you match up with your stylist, there will be actual conversation, phone calls, emails between you and her or whoever. But yeah, there will be actual person-to-person communication.
Sink. How do you vet the curators and make sure they have good style?
Well, since I have no style, I will not be doing that. We actually brought on Amber Taylor, who is our main stylist. She's originally from Little Rock. She's in Arizona. She's actually moving back to kind of head up the stylist part and the curation part. So she's kind of going to be vetting as far as the stylist. We want to make sure that we have people that can serve that customer well. So she knows that space very, very well. So she'll be the one curating that.
My question is, as far as your source of profit, does the consumer pay a monthly fee for the service, or how does that work?
The consumer's going to pay for what they keep, something that I may have missed. So what will happen is you'll get your outfit shipped to you. You get time to try them on, see how they fit. You keep what you want, and you send back what you don't. You're actually charged on what you keep.
Randy Briggs, Rock City School of Music. So you're purely online. I'm curious how you're finding your customers, or how your customers are finding you.
Right. Right now, we're doing a lot of word of mouth. There's a lot of ways to do social media targeting. I think right now it's kind of a grassroots, get the word out there. I think we're going to talk to some people that are maybe more trendsetters that are using it and kind of push the service, and maybe look at some target marketing online eventually.
Mike Smith.
Hey, Mike.
Couple questions. You mentioned having an interest, I think you said, in having a really good partner on the sourcing side, on resale. Can you mention the name of who you're working with?
I can't.
Okay, that's why you didn't say.
Right.
All right. And then
They're huge, though.
They are.
It's a really big one.
Then the other question, I ran across a company called Frank and Oak.
Yep.
Are you familiar with their model? Okay.
And like I said, there are competitors in this space. It's something that's blatantly obvious. I think that we bring something to the table that hasn't been filled yet, and there are companies that are even using like new or originally worn clothing, but not in this platform for the style service with the curated style.
Charles with Leverage Design. Will there be a way for you to say go to the website and pick certain items that you would like to see there, or is it just you talk with the stylist and they put a piece together for you and send it to you?
Well, right now it's just talking to the stylist. We've talked about maybe expanding that as we grow and having some form of fire sale based off items. It's going to be a lot of time consuming. It's not like take a photo and we have stock of 10,000 of this one thing. So the labor between having to take a photo and post everything right now. So right now it's going to be stylists sending you options. But plan on maybe expanding that.
Kathy McAllister, I have a question about the style. So there's a really big difference between style in Silicon Valley and style in New York City and style in Washington, D.C. and style in Dallas. So are you going to try to put together your own company style, something like J. Crew, and kind of promote your tagless style?
I think with tagless style, one of the advantages that we have versus some of the competitors, we're not pushing a brand. Some of the, like Trunk Club, for example, I've ordered from them. It's not that it's bad, but they're pushing the clothing that they're partnered with. With the sourcing that we're doing through just all of the brands, we're not limited to any style. So it truly is curated style for what you would wear. And we're also the first company that I've seen to use user photos. The stylist actually will see photos of you based off what you sent her. It's optional, but the more information they have is better. So it's actually extremely personalized style. We're not pushing a style, it's what the customer needs.
Again, Michael Sink. My family is big into resale shopping. My wife is really good at it. But part of it is, in my understanding, there's a perception tied to that, which is Goodwill Industries and Salvation Army and resale shops like that. So how do you overcome that or fight that, or that's what my knowledge of is my wife and family really My immediate thought of resale is Goodwill, Salvation Army,
Right.
you know, certain charity resale type things. It's a real challenge to go through all the clothes.
Right, and we're solving that because a lot of our stylists are actually thrifters themselves, so they're very good at it. If we were to have a partnership, that would solve a lot of the sourcing issues. As far as, are you touching on the fact that people are kind of not sure about the quality of the resale clothing? Well, I think that's a big thing of shipping and you trying it and seeing the clothing before purchasing. I think once people see the quality of the clothing, because I mean, we did some user testing and people were saying 5 out of 5 as far as quality is like new clothing. So I think once they get that product in their hand, that will be not an issue anymore.
Can I add your answer? Do you mind? Can I expand on your answer? Okay. David likes to talk, guys.
I like to talk.
He's good at it.
Okay, so just really quickly, one of the things that we've been working on is creating an open box experience very similar to what Apple does. So if you've ever purchased an iPhone or a MacBook or something like that, and you open it up, and the packaging is just outstanding. And so we have a couple of things. First, we guarantee that the clothes look like the brand new. We also guarantee that the clothes are brand name. There's no stains. There's no, there's nothing associated with what you might get from or what you might think you might get from a Goodwill or Salvation Army, something to that effect. So beyond the clothing, though, when you open that box, it's like opening up a Ferrari, really. I mean, you would not think these clothes are secondhand, and that's really gently worn. And so that's really what we want. That's really what we want to promote. By the time you open up that box, you've already forgotten that these clothes have already been worn before. They're fantastic clothes at a great price. They look new. They smell new. And the box is phenomenal. So you get the open box experience that you're just not going to get with any other service.
Yes, what Dave said.
Anyone? Okay, I have a question. So I know you guys pretty well, and you'll do an awesome conference called Made by Few, and through that, y'all built out a pretty great network of influencers in the design community, but also just tech community and startup community, kind of across the nation. Have you guys thought of leveraging those relationships at all? Like you mentioned, the influencers might be your first customer or something.
I've thought about it a bit. I mean, I have some friends that we know. For example, like my friend Alan Brand is going to be involved in testing it. We get markers some of our friends and test it. If they feel the need to push it and feel comfortable with the service, then yeah, of course.
Any last questions? Awesome. So, give it up for Gabe. Gabe, before we let you go, like we do with every single 1 Million Cups presenter, we want to ask you, what's the one thing we can do as a community here in Little Rock to help Tagless thrive? And yeah, just leave us with one thing we can leave the day with.
Go to tagless.clothing and sign up for the beta list.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's www.tagless.clothing. So .com to .clothing, and it's the beta, right?
Yeah, it's signing up for our launch in early October to start receiving tagless clothing. It looks good.
Well, thank you, Gabe. Appreciate it.